Rifle season in Missouri. I got my 7 LPRC. Big bucks are everywhere. You don't want to miss this.
McWhorter Custom Rifles presents.
That was a perfect shot at 600. Welcome back, folks. We're headed to Missouri this week. First time rifle season hunting, a long time hunting that state. You don't want to miss this.
Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by McWhorter Custom Rifles, Zeiss Hunting, Macmillan Fiberglass Stocks, Hornady Ammunition, Great Horizon Ranch, Rack 'em Up Roasted Feeds, and Borden Accuracy.
So this year, we wanted to try something new. I had not hunted Missouri since I was a whole lot younger than I am now. I'd hunted it with my son Josh, and he had killed a really good deer way back in the day, but I just hadn't found any place in Missouri that I wanted to hunt. And my good friend Bart Bevel from Mississippi, he and I have hunted several places together. And he had gone to Indian Hills with Joe Ogden the year before, and he recommended that I go this year. Even though he hadn't killed a big buck, there were several others in camp that got killed that year. So he recommended that we go. I gave Joe a call. Joe spent a lot of time on the phone with me, explaining how we would hunt and what to expect. And I was all in. I was real excited to be able to go hunt Missouri rifle season during the rut. So we get up to camp, and Joe's just got a great camp on the top of a real pretty ridge, just all the accommodations you want. They got a chef there, good cooking, good friends, big camp. We met a lot of new people there, and it was the day before opening day, and everybody was real excited. They knew the rut was going on, and everybody had very high expectations the day before the season. So this area of Missouri, it's not like Kansas or other Midwestern places at all. It's got a lot of rolling topography, a whole lot of ag, a whole lot of hardwoods, a whole lot of creek bottoms, and it's a rolling terrain. And Joe has got this thing set up to catch a lot of deer in their natural travel corridors and their pressure corridors, because Missouri rifle season, everybody and their brother is out in the woods trying to kill one of those big Missouri monarchs. Opening morning got here. We had talked to Joe. He had a plan for myself and for my good friend Bart Bevel and my good friend Chad LeBlanc. We were all hunting the same block of timber. He was going to spread us out, and he had a couple of target bucks in there, and he figured that 3 people in there would put the odds in our favor. Well, Denise and I are out first morning of rifle season here in Missouri. It's November the 11th, and it's about 30 degrees. And we're sitting on a little field here where Joe, the owner, has jumped a big buck yesterday that was with a doe, and another little buck was in tow. So we figure she's in. And, so he's got me and 3 of my really good customers out here, and we kind of are all got this whole area of surrounded here. Hoping that this deer will make a mistake this morning. He's a real big mainframe 10 and just a brute of a deer. So we're sitting in a bale blind and we've got a lot of windows to watch. So we're gonna sit back and probably sit here all day. We might get moved. He's gonna move a banks blind where you can see about 500 or 600 yards both ways in the middle of the day. And there's a possibility if we don't see this deer and get this deer killed this morning that we might move middle of the day. So got my 7 LPRC with 180 grain Hornadies, and it's really wanting to push a bullet out of there. So opening day in Missouri, here we go. We saw a few does, a few small bucks, but just not what we were looking for on that first day, but our hopes were still high.
This segment of Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by Borden Accuracy, makers of the most accurate custom hunting actions on the market. Manufactured in the USA to true bench rest tolerances. Borden Accuracy equals success.
So on this hunt, I got my favorite camera person, my wife Denise. She didn't want to hunt this time, so she's the camera girl. She's bought more camera equipment than I think all our other cameramen combined, and she's learned how to use it, and she's really chomping at the bit to get footage of me killing a big Missouri buck. All right, that's our second morning in Missouri, and we're in a new blind today. We're actually in literally a brand new blind. This is a banks blind that they moved in here yesterday. And we can see a long way. I mean, we can see it 400, 500 yards in every direction. It's a big cut cornfield with a lot of topography, and it's got a whole lot of real thick timber surrounding it. So I think the combines were pretty efficient. I don't see a whole lot of corn out here, but to go from one woodlot to the other woodlot in this area right here, you're pretty much going to have to cross this field. So that's what we're hoping happens. So it's high 30s this morning, not really cold, and but the rut is the 12th, so the rut should be pretty much swinging. So I'm hoping that one of these bucks comes out here chasing a doe or comes across here scent trailing, and we get to put this 7 LPRC with this 180 grain Hornady to work. So we're planning on sitting here all day. So here we go, day 2, Missouri. We could see a large amount of ground from where we were sitting. We could see cornfield to the left, cornfield to the right, and all the woodlot in front of us. We saw many deer. We saw a lot of young deer chasing, but we just had not seen that big Missouri shooter that we were looking for yet. Hunted that blind that afternoon, still saw just a lot of deer, but just not any shooters. So I sat down with Joe that night. Joe had gotten a fresh picture of a big shooter buck on another farm. So we made a plan for the next day, and we got in there to get after this buck he had just found. The buck we were looking for was a big mainframe 10-pointer, dart rack, big bodied, and he was going to be a really good shooter if he showed up. This area that he had found, it wasn't really accessible for morning. So what we did was I got one of my ground blinds out. Middle of the day, we went in there, we got in the back of a field, we kind of got brushed in, and Denise and I just stayed in there, and we set up and we waited for this buck to show up that he had gotten on camera the night before. So we get settled in the blind, we got our Leah photo up, I got my 7 LPRC on the sticks. We've got a fence line that runs down to our right. We've got a big field with soybeans on the top to our left. A bunch of them are cut in front of us where we can see, but the topography's real rolling, so we know this is gonna be a challenging place to get a shot, and we're gonna have to be pretty quick on the trigger when we finally see this buck.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by McWhorter True Precision Long Range Hunting and Shooting School, Atlas Development Group, Brooks Barrels, and Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. This segment is brought to you by Atlas Development Group, makers of the finest premium rifle cartridge cases on the market, proudly made in the USA. Our stringent manufacturing process and raw materials yield superior results.
Welcome back, folks. Today I'm with Mr. Kyle Brown of Carl Zeiss Optics, and we're here to talk about one of the finest long-range hunting scopes that I've ever had the pleasure of using. This is the culmination of a project that we've been working on with Zeiss for, what, a year and a half now?
Yes.
And we've had some input to this, and they're finally here. Tell us about these new products we got here.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thanks for having us down here. We have the Zeiss new series of rifle scopes called the Zeiss V8 NA series. NA stands for North America. The configuration allows for minute of angle adjustments, minute of angle reticles, and a few other advancements that's more oriented to North American shooters and hunters.
Right.
And for this one, this is a 2.8 to 20 power with a 56 millimeter objective. And this one is a 4.8 to 35 power with a 60 millimeter objective.
The thing I like about these scopes, first the 2.8, it's in a 30 millimeter tube. It's really compact. Most people don't think about a 56 as being compact, but this scope only weighs 28 ounces. It easily fit on low rings with still another 1/8 of an inch off the tenon of the gun, so it really is a compact scope. The 30 millimeter tube keeps it from being so bulky, and the weight's just great.
That's right. And Zeiss considers these, this is our pinnacle of optical performance. And I think that some of the things that you've witnessed as you've tested these and evaluated these, that I think you found that to be true.
Oh, absolutely. These are great scopes. The light transmission on both these scopes is a real 92%. And compared to most scopes that are 88 or less, that's going to give you another 15 minutes in the morning, in the evening when it really matters.
Yeah,
so I think about all the animals I've killed, and a whole lot of them in that last 15 minutes. So that's why it's critical. The other thing that I like about these scopes is the illumination. Tell us about how this illumination is different from most scopes that you see.
That's a good question. So with this illumination, we want it to be useful in the field, not just illumination. So it's digital illumination technology. It is used with a fiber optic, cut at a perfect 45 and embedded perfectly centered on the reticle. And with that, when you look through it with the scope, you're seeing just a perfect center dot. And that dot, when you have it, let's say on 20 power, that covers less than a 17 caliber bullet hole. So I mean, it's an ultra precise point of aim. It is not interfering in your low light performance. And when you click it on, it's fantastic. It really gives you that ultra precise, small pinpoint point of aim at distance. And another thing I really like about it is a battery conservation. So when the rifle is tilted on its right side or its left side, the battery's off. And before you can get it back to the shooting position, it's already back on. If you're pointing the barrel down or slinging it over your shoulder, the reticle is already turned off, and before you can get it back to the shooting position, it's already back on again.
So this scope, we think is going to be the best thing on the market. It's got a reticle that we designed with you guys. It's got 10 MOA on either side of the reticle at 1,000 yards with a 10-mile-an-hour wind. That's plenty to hold. That's only 5 minutes, so you can hold up to a 20-mile-an-hour wind at 1,000 yards. The other thing we want to cover real quick is the hit on a lot of hunting scopes is they didn't ever have enough travel to get out to long distance. Both of these have plenty enough to shoot well in excess of ethical distances. Both these guns right here I had zeroed at 200 yards. They're on 20 MOA bases. And with this scope here, I had 42 minutes of elevation left, which gets me out to about 1,400 yards. This scope here had 38 left. So both of these guns will shoot well past 1,000 yards on most all ballistic profiles.
Yes, sir, and that's more than enough minute of angle adjustment to take care of business for long range hunting. And I think one of the things I like about this is 72 minutes of total elevation travel, 48 minutes of total elevation travel.
Right.
And then we also have our famous ballistic stop.
Yeah, those turrets are simple and precise. I really like those. So I can't wait to use these. Fall's right around the corner. Hoping I get to keep these two. And you'll be seeing these on a hunt coming this year for sure. And that's your True Precision Tip of the Week, brought to you by Allan and Kyle.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by Leo Photo USA, Trigger Tech, Hawkins Precision, Armageddon Gear, Mesquite Creek Taxidermy, Hell's Canyon Barrels, Gun Foam, Boyd Harness Company, and Metal Spinning Targets. This segment is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, real Texas barbecue.
So we get settled in the blind. We got our Leo Photo up. I got my 7 LPRC on the sticks. We've got a fence line that runs down to our right. We've got a big field with soybeans on the top to our left. A bunch of them are cut in front of us where we can see, but the topography's real rolling, so we know this is going to be a challenging place to get a shot, and we're going to have to be pretty quick on the trigger when we finally see this buck. And we had seen a couple of deer. Then I see this buck walking down the right-hand side of the fence. I tell Denise, she tries to find him in the camera. She gets just a little glimpse of him as he leaves, and he walks down in this bottom. We're hoping that he's not disappeared and gone. I'm elated when he takes a left, walks out into this field, and finally gets up to where I can stop him and get a shot at just over 200 yards. Woo! The Leo Photo's giving me a perfect rest. I yell at the buck, he stops, hit him right on the shoulder, goes down on his nose, plows out into the soybean fields, just over the edge, and we've got our Missouri buck on the ground. Ooh, I rushed it some, but I got him. I saw him go down out there in the beans. I panicked. This rolly, hilly soybean field is the only place to get. It's the highest elevation out here. And when he first came out, Denise couldn't see him. He was on the other side of the fence. That tight zoom camera is hard to find stuff. And so he walked straight away, walked out of sight, down in this dip. I was hoping he wasn't going to just keep walking and go to a scrape up there that I think we got him on last night. But he got through that and got under the fence or over the fence, and I didn't know how deep that swale was, and I didn't know if he could disappear any second, so I just hollered at him and got him to stop, and he was right at 200, I think, and I rushed it and didn't want him to take another step, and that 180 grain Hornady ELDM, I think, ate him up. I saw him go down. He didn't run 50 yards, I don't think, so. 7 LPRC, Borden Action, Buck's Barrel, McMillan Stock, Leo Photo, and everything else.
Zeiss scope work together. I think we got a really good Missouri buck on the ground.
So we'd made a perfect shot on this deer at 200 yards. He ran 80 yards. We went down to do the recovery, but we had a camera malfunction. We got right up to the deer, and at that point, camera went out, and so we don't have a recovery for you guys. Fortunately, we did get some really good pictures of this great Missouri deer, and we just hope that you'll understand that sometimes things happen. Denise is a great camera person, but she can't help it when we have camera malfunctions. Overall, this first trip to Indian Hills Outfitters with Joe Ogden and our clients Bart and Lonnie and Chad was a great hunt. They had great food, great experience. There were some other really big bucks killed on this hunt by other clients, and I can't wait to go back next year.